Welcome into another edition of Media Monday Raven Nation. I'm Tyler Aragao alongside Doying Fadojutimi of the men's basketball team here. And Doying, it's been quite a big week/weekend for you guys, coming off two big wins in conference. Here it's at home against St. Anselm's, obviously huge, and then over the weekend winning in overtime at St. Michael's. For you and your team, obviously things in conference haven't been going well until recently. You guys are 7-9 right now, trying to get back into the playoff hunt. You're coming off these two big wins. What's the feeling like in the room right now amongst your teammates?
I think we're just all feeling a little bit inspired, because this is just something else to add on to what we're playing for. So I think the group of guys that we got are just hungry and inspired.
You've got 4 out of your next 5 games. They're all in conference, but 4 out of those next 5 games are coming against teams that are currently ahead of you in the standings. You've got Merrimack up next on the road. They're currently second in the Northeast Division. How do you approach a matchup like that?
We just take it one day at a time, one game at a time too. We just try to, focus on what we can control. What we can control. I'm sorry about that. What we can control for the most part, because they're a really good team. Credit out to Merrimack, but we're trying to more focus on what we got to do.
Absolutely. And for you personally, you had some struggles a few games ago, particularly against New Haven. Didn't record a basket there, shot 0 for 11. But then you bounced back against St. Anselm's, and your first shot of the night was a 3-point shot. You drilled it. Prior to that, you were 1 for 13 from beyond the arc in those prior 2 games. What is that feeling like when you're kind of in a funk, and then your first shot in the new game, you cash it? How do you feel personally when you're out there?
I feel great. I mean, shooting slumps are never fun, I kind of got a little frustrated with it. But for me to see the basket go in for my first shot was really got me motivated and pumped up, and I felt good about it.
I'm talking to your coach about it as well, about this particular slump that's no longer in existence, thankfully. He was saying it's important for a player to not start to worry about it, to not start to try and do too much. Did you feel that you were ever kind of leaning in that direction where you tried to maybe overcomplicate things out in the court?
No, I don't think I really overcomplicated things. I probably think I was just thinking too much a little bit, because when something like that goes on, like a slump like that, you start to second guess yourself and start judging your shot timing and things like that. But I guess when it finally went in, it's just clear sailing from there.
And then those 2 wins now, recently against St. Anselm's and most recently at St. Michael's over the weekend, obviously 2 big wins. You personally hit those 2 big free throws in overtime to give your team the lead. You've been perfect in your last 7 straight games from the free throw line. You haven't missed a free throw, knock on wood, in the last 7 games. When you're approaching the line, especially in a close game, what's kind of running through your head as you attempt these free throws?
Usually just be calm and collected, because this is what we practice on. We practice it every day. We take our time and shoot free throws, so I'm just usually trying to keep a calm head. That's the most important thing. You can't be rattled shooting free throws. So I think that's just helped me out a lot.
And kind of applying that importance of mental toughness, especially down the stretch when you're going to be facing some really good teams. You've mentioned that approach of taking it one day at a time. How important is it that you and your team continue that approach game in and game out as you try to get yourself into a playoff spot?
I think it's huge, because you can't overlook anybody in this league. As you can see, we're battling to try to get a playoff spot. So, just taking it one day at a time, every detail matters. It's always the little things. We lost a couple close games earlier throughout the year, so one day at a time, just focusing on the task at hand will be able for us to try to see the big picture.
And as we mentioned, with Merrimack up on the horizon, you guys played them here back in early December. It was a really good game, close one at that. You fell 60-59. You know that you can play with these guys. They're a little bit ahead of you in the standings. But how does that confidence factor play in when you're going up against one of the top-ranked teams in your division?
I think it's huge, because, we played a close game against them, and for them to be second in the division means that we can, compete with them, which means along with St. Anselm's and the rest of the guys. So, just the confidence is pretty good.
All right, Doying, before we let you go, give us one little interesting fact or talent that people would not know about Doying Fadojutimi?
I read manga as a hobby. I don't think people really know that.
Oh, all right.
So yeah,
All
I
right.
gotta do
Interesting.
that.
Interesting. What's your what's your favorite out of it?
My favorite, probably right now would probably be like something called One Punch Man.
All right. Well, all right. So Doyen is a One Punch fan. All
Yeah.
right. That's a very good choice.
Yeah.
Doying Fadojutimi of men's basketball. I'm Tyler Aragao. Thanks for tuning in, Raven Nation.